This is digitally, a voice in the air, a connection with. There was a time when a voice found a way to bring operators together every day. A place for the curious, a place to learn, a digital signal waiting for its turn. From Denton County came a sound so clear, a gathering of friends who knew no fear. Lido, KG5RJR led the way, building a bridge through the digital waves. Every call sign has a story, every voice has a place, every signal carries memories across time and space. And we're still here across the airwaves, keeping alive the dream you made. Through every repeater, every connection, every new operator finding direction. Though your key went silent, your spirit remains, your voice still echoes through the bands again. From coast to coast, the message is strong. Digitally, the signal carries on.
Good afternoon. This is KG5RJR. I am your host this Sunday afternoon for Digitally Speaking. Before we get going here too far, I just want to say Happy Father's Day. For those of you that are fathers, for those of you that are stepfathers, or somebody else, hey, thank you for all you do. And, this is that one time a year that they get to celebrate Dad. Around a few topics here up front, and we'll chat, as well as maybe even one that is a little bit Father's Day related. We'll see if that one sticks, and if it does, we'll use it. So. There's a lot of stuff going on in ham radio too, as well. So let's chat about that as well as we do this. So let's get the information that we need to get out here out of the way first here at the beginning. Those of you that may have just got linked in or tuned in through AllStar, or you're scanning up and down the dial and found us. We do this every Sunday at 2 o'clock. It is digital. We are linked digitally. If you look at the map on AllStar for this particular repeater that we're linked in with, it's big today. There's quite a few there. So for those of you that are not aware of what we do, we are here every Sunday at 2 o'clock. And we run for anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. It kind of depends on the group. With that being said, we will drop this net if there is any type of a Skywarn or Aries emergency activation in this area. And where's this area? The DFW-Ham metro area. And there again, why? Well, it gets confusing. You get this many places linked up, and you have a Skywarn event going on. You've got locations that start asking questions about who activated what. So, yeah, we just politely excuse ourselves at that point. And if there is an emergency, if the station will come in with the break, we will take that emergency seriously and stand aside and drop the networks that are associated and connected at that point in time. just to get some details out about where we're linked from, what locations we're at, let me cover the local metro repeaters here in the DFW area. The Denton County Amateur Radio Association is our primary location. That's the 146.92. That's got a negative offset with a PL of 110.9. AllStar is going to be 41087, and you can find details on them at www.dakara.net. What I'll mention is the Richardson Wireless Club. They're with us for about an hour and a half, hour 45, sometimes a little longer, depends on what they've got the process set for there. That you can find them on their local RF repeater at 147.120 megahertz. That's a positive offset with a PL of 110.9. AllStar is going to be 47841. We have the W5AC down at College Station with us as well in the afternoon. This week they're not with us. I'm looking at the AllStar list, and I'm not seeing them on that one this round. So I will just say normally they're there. Maybe it's repeater maintenance time. Don't know. But yeah, they usually have their network connected up with us as well, and we sure appreciate everything they do when they're connected up. AllStar method, or not AllStar, but another RF method for getting into the network is the K5RJR repeater. That's a 224. Yep, that's a 220 repeater, folks. And it's got a negative offset with PL of 110.9. AllStar is going to be 43670. And yeah, we usually link that one up for this net so that those of you that have 220 can get in via that. And you can find details about that club at www.k5lrk.com. Almost said org there, and that was because I remembered, I forgot to give you the website for Richardson. That's going to be www.k5rwk.org. Ways that you can participate on the net and be able to listen in and have some fun with us is we are now connected with the TGIF DMR network. They actually bridge into the system here with us, and I want to thank where'd he go? Edgar KG5RJR for all he's done to make that possible, and that's on the TGIF DMR network with ID of 75065. Time slot 1, color code 1, and they're connected with us weekly. And latest and newest around is you can also do this over on YouTube. You can have some fun chatting there during the process and session. If you're not on Signal, go to YouTube and look for WTF.Reydio, and that's spelled REYDIO. He live streams almost every Sunday now. He's been with us for a long time here as a host, and decided that he would start doing this as well on YouTube. So if you folks would like to join us there, you're welcome to as well. Once again, I want to thank each and every organization that's assisting, getting us on the air, making this time possible. You know, we've been doing this for quite some time, and I want to go into the details and the history of it. It is something that started here in Denton County years back, and Lee carried it forward, and many of us that are here were a product of that process, and we just decided when he passed to carry it on because it is so much fun. Now, if you want more details about Digitally Speaking, I'm going to give you a website address to go to, and make sure that you use all of it. Otherwise, you're liable to get one of those nasty grams that it didn't go through. So that's going to be https://www, yeah, that part's important, .digital-speaking, Lee, and that's spelled Lee, -speaking.net. Lots of details there, details about how to connect in, and a lot of the information that we cover is over on that. So, yeah, as well as some frequently asked questions. And if you'd like to be part of this, you can get a hold of us via the website there. And J-Max says, don't forget the hyphens. All right, with those pleasantries out of the way, yeah, it takes a few minutes every time. I want to thank you for being here on Sunday with us, because yeah, without you, we don't get to play, we don't get to have the net and all the other fun stuff that comes along. So, with that, I'm going to take the first check-in. If you'd like to be part of Digitally Speaking this week, and you'd like to be the first check-in, throw out your call sign. Let's see who I hear.
Foxtrot 5, Romeo Sierra. This is Bob in Highland Village.
5RS. Bob, I am so glad to hear you here, dude. And I understand we had a stellar showing at DFW-Ham Expo. Talk to me about that.
It was a great show. We had over 1,100 people, and I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. I hope they had a good time. We certainly had a good time throwing the event, so just looking forward to next year, and it'll be even bigger.
I will have to say, I was there. We had a great time. We had an excellent time there. Ended up being a little bigger booth than what I was expecting, because, yeah, the wife didn't tell me she went that big. But we had a blast. And, folks, for any of you that attended previous years that sweated it out, I'm here to tell you, this was the coolest ham fest I've been to all year. It was phenomenal and huge, tons of space. It was a great time. Bob, other good things that went on at it? Talk to me a little bit about this.
Well, it just went really smooth. We did a lot of advanced planning, and it all paid off. We had the automated ticketing system, and that went well. Kudos to Andrew for putting that together. You probably noticed we had a new ticketing tumbler, our mega tumbler, and that went well. A lot of prizes this year. And we've already got feedback from some new commercial vendors who apparently heard about it, and they're anxious to get involved next year, so we're looking forward to that.
That's what all this is about, is, I mean, we get to play radio here in the Metro quite frequently on a vast array of repeaters here, and inviting others from outside the area or commercial vendors or other things to come back into this area. You know, we used to have the 4th largest ham fest in the United States, and being able to watch folks rebuild that is phenomenal. Just the amount of effort and work that goes into making this happen. I go to ham fests. I know how much it takes to unload the trailer, set up tables, and then do the work, and then turn around and leave. I can only imagine doing that for 1,100 people, as well as how many vendors did you have total this year?
I think the actual number was 130, 135, something like that.
That makes me feel really good. And I'm here to tell you, if you are a commercial vendor and haven't been, yeah, this is one you need to go to. It is a lot of fun. It's up and coming because it's regrowing what used to be here in the area. And the facility that they got, there is plenty of room to grow. Yeah, there could be 2 floors full. That would be phenomenal. Bob, I appreciate you very much, bud. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's Father's Day. So do you have any stories about you and your father doing ham radio, or did you take up ham radio after? Was a parent involved with you with radio? Tell me.
Wow, good question for Father's Day, and The answer is yes. He was not a ham, but he was a radio fanatic. I got involved when I was very young in elementary school with shortwave listening on a radio he gave me. It was a old Zenith Transoceanic, and I used to listen to shortwave a lot. Then later, as I got a little older with a paper route, I earned some money, and I bought my first CB radio. So I was active CBer back then and all that, and then things evolved, and then I got into ham radio. So yeah, it was my old man, and he got me into it.
That was something that was suggested by one of our friends about a topic for this week. And I know we've got field day coming up. We've got 13 colonies coming up. There's so many different things that we've got coming up for radio. I just kind of felt I wanted to throw that one out. But the other question I've got for you, Bob, and I'll ask Dakara here shortly as well. Do you know anything about Dakara's field day? What can you tell me about that? I know you used to be president over there, so you must have an inside track.
I know we're going to have it at Pilot Knoll Park, the same place we've had it every year. And there's discussions on whether we're going to do the overnight Saturday or not. It all depends on the operators that sign up. If someone's willing to work overnight, we're going to stay overnight. But it'll be at the same location. And, well, you obviously know the weekend, next weekend. So that's really all I know about that. One thing I do want to say about the expo is we have already formally booked it for next year. And the dates are June 11 and 12, 2027.
That is fantastic. That, I need some little flyers or mailers or whatever that as I go around through the locations that I go through the rest of this year, I'd like to drop them on some tables. So if I can get some of those from you at some point, Bob, I would be tickled to death to just drop those at all the ham fests I go to. Maybe we can get some other vendors to do that as well and make this thing just take off.
I've got that request from others, and we're working on it. That's all I can say. But appreciate it, Scott. You're doing a great job. I'm going to get out of here, and let's get others to talk on the net. Have a happy Father's Day. Take care. AF5RS will be clear.
Bob, I thank you for checking in, and thank you for giving us the details regarding DFW Ham Expo. And folks, I'll cover this one real quick because we were just talking Dakara and Field Day. I know Dakara's got a meeting tomorrow night. Yeah, that's tomorrow night, Monday the 4th. It's the 4th Monday, not Monday the 4th. At 7 p.m., they're going to be located at the Denton County Administration Courthouse. That's one courthouse drive in Denton, Texas. That program starts at 7. My bet is there's probably going to be some more details about DFW Ham Expo and what they're going to be doing for Field Day. So if you'd like to come out and have some fun, kind of get out to a good-sized club and kind of get some of the details and hang out for a little bit, it's a good time. You that are from outside the area, just make sure to book next year. Get your plane tickets already, your hotel, all the stuff that you need to do for June 11th and 12th. Come on out and join us for DFW Ham Expo. All right, who'd like to be next this afternoon? Throw out your call.
Keep Delta Tango Hotel. David. Corinth.
Fun, we got our first double. So, I'm going to tell you, I heard enough picket fencing, and it might have been even a triple in there, but I caught Echo Echo Hotel. So, whatever station it was that had the Echo Echo Hotel in your call, if you would give me your full call and your name and location, you're next.
since no one else is speaking up, how about Delta Tango Hotel?
Well, I'll take Delta Tango Hotel. How you doing, bud?
Doing very well, and I could never verbalize how impressed I was with DFW Ham Radio Expo. Unbelievable.
I hear that, David. For those of you that don't know David, David is one of the presidents for one of the clubs that is here in Denton County. David, give me your full call so we can get that here in the log.
Okay, that's Kilo 5 Delta Tango Hotel. And our club call sign is Kilo 5 Hotel Romeo Romeo or Ham Radio Robeson.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I saw you out there with your table. How did you do? Did you do pretty well?
That's a darn good question. And let me say, first of all, before I give you my report, I was blown away by several things at this Hamfest. Number one, the radio test station and the folks over there with the microphones. Wow. Whether you're a long in the tooth or a new ham, you should have been there and you should have had your radio with you. Secondly, I have not seen that many boat anchors in one place, and I'll explain. Since my last trip to Dayton, which was a long time ago, there was so much old gear there. Not so much that everybody wanted to buy it, but what an incredible history lesson in ham radio. So to answer your question, it was a strange crowd. There were things that I had that I thought would just, and we had several of our club members with items on the tables there. And there were items that I thought would just run out the door that I think they're going to go, but they're going to go over a longer sale process. And then I had tons of stuff, and several of us did, that was just kind of odds and ends kind of things. Things I could have brought 100 of that I only brought 20 or 30 of, and they all went boom. So it was I don't even know what to say. It's a mixed bag. Success in every way, just in different ways than I expected. Does that make sense?
Sir, yes, sir. It certainly does, because I can report the same kind of feeling from the table that we had. We had radios that went, and yeah, I might know the lady that has that microphone addiction. She lives in my house, and yeah, to see some of the items that were coming and going, and even some of the stuff that I bought. Yeah, I got some really cool stuff while I was there. We won't go into details about it right now, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So I'm going to ask you the same question I did Bob, David. Was your father instrumental in your ham radio and joining ham radio or becoming a ham?
5DTH. Well, my answer is similar to Bob's. My father was never a licensed ham radio operator, but he started his career at the Marine Corps as a signalman, Morse code, and he ended up a gunnery sergeant many years later. But so he was very supportive. I had several Elmers, some through where my mother worked, and some through Boy Scouts, and some through school. And those were the folks that really pushed me over the edge to get my license as young as I did. And my father was very supportive. In fact, and this was just so lucky, he took me to a ham fest. He actually took me to several ham fests. The first one just blew me away. It was in Rockford, Illinois, and it was like a mini Dayton. But we went to a ham fest on the north side of Chicago, and it was a teeny tiny little one. Never would have expected anything. And he bought me my novice station, And just by luck, because neither one of us really knew what we were doing, I got an incredible setup for the time. A Hammerlid HQ170 AC VHF and a Helicrafters HT40 was my first on-the-air novice setup. It changed and evolved over time, and he bought me that there. So, and then he got up on the roof and put up. We had a 3-story huge home in Chicago, and he got up on the roof and put the antennas up. And yeah, he was very, very supportive, even though he never had a license.
That's excellent, David. I am really tickled to hear those stories. And for me, I had a relative that was into ham radio. He was so much into it that, when we took over part of his life, it was very difficult for him to step aside from it, as he had to move into some facilities that he could not do ham radio in. And his ears had gone so badly that he could not even hear any of the stuff that he had done it for years. And I like hearing these stories because, I mean, it's for me, neither of my dad or my stepdad, either one, were into radio at all. But my uncle was, and my grandfather was as well. Both started out in CB, so yeah, I've got some similar histories there. David, anything else you got for us here?
Not really. I appreciate you running the net. You always do a fine job, but then again, it's all comes down from that YouTube channel. Our club is holding our field days on different days. We just had our spring field day 3 weeks ago. We purposefully do it. Number one, it was in the middle of the week because we're all retired. But number two, it was not on contest weekend because we had a lot of disappointed people last year. Their first time on the air, whether they'd been a ham for 10 years or, they weren't a ham yet. And it was all they got to say was 59 North Texas. So we did it in the middle of the week and let them be able to chat with people. And we were so fortunate to find a ham up in Oregon who was running a net. He stopped the net and had a conversation with each one of them using their own call signs, and then hand wrote every one of them a QSL card. That's ham radio, K5DTH.
For me, that's what I feel should be the biggest part of field day, is getting newer operators on the net, on the bands, and getting a chance to work with a decent station, some seasoned operators, and putting up antennas. But that's me, and that is what got me the most motivated when I first came into Dakara and Lark and Laura, was that learning process, and field day was one of the biggest for me. I appreciate it, David, and I'm going to go ahead and move on, but I will catch you Monday because I'm certain you're going to be at the Dakara meeting, so am I. Good chatting with you. All right, there was someone else that was in there with David that got a double. I apologize for us taking so long, but yeah, that's kind of how we do it here. So if you had a double, a triple, or whatever in there with David, if you'd throw out your call sign right now, I'd appreciate it.
Kilo Juliet 5, Lima X-Ray Sierra, Brandon, Corinth.
Good afternoon, Brandon. How you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. Just sitting out here at Mom's house playing on Dad's radio. Can't go wrong with that for Father's Day.
I get that. It's because, hey, did you hook up to that great big old antenna that's sitting out there, or the great big mast that's still out there? Does it still have an antenna on it?
It is still out there, and it is still functioning. However, I'm not sure where the 2-meter antenna is. I think it's a comment or something that's mounted to the side of the house, oddly enough. Great big old mast with all the antennas and everything else on it. And I believe this one is plugged in for 2 meters to a little comet or a diamond or something mounted to the eave on the side of the house. So go figure.
Roger that. Now, you're going to need to crowd up on that microphone a little bit. You were getting a little bit distant on that last pass there. Hey, I know you did some work with your radio the other day. Tell me about that. How did that go?
Yeah, that's stupid. Firmware updates shouldn't be that difficult, and they shouldn't take me a half a day to do. Now, granted, it was the first time I've ever done one, and the next time it won't take me near as long, but yeah, that was frustrating. You know, I kept getting errors and this and that, and I just kept starting over and trying again, and eventually it went through, so I'm not sure what I did right, but eventually it worked, and now everything's back up and running, so I'm good to go.
FTX1 is actually easier than it used to be, because I'm going to tell you, I've done that firmware upgrade, and you and I had chatted about coming over here and doing it, and me watching you as you did it. But the way we used to do it before the 500 came out, or even the 710 and the DX10 came out, it literally almost felt like you were standing on one leg with your arm in the air as you tried to put your fingers, your toes, and your nose on buttons on the radio to reboot it, and then you had to unplug it part way through. And yeah, the method that they're using now is actually better, but I will tell you, it still isn't good, just like you said. But yeah, crazy stuff. I'm glad to hear you got it done. That's cool. So Brandon, I will ask you this question. You tell me about your dad and influencing you in ham radio.
You know, I don't really have a solid answer for that because you know, my whole life my dad's been into ham radios, and I can remember coming over here to the house and him pulling me into the his shack and showing me his new radio or his new antenna, and me just sitting there going, geez Louise, you're a nerd. Rolling my eyes and just desperate trying to get out of the room so I could go back to watching the football game or something like that. Let me reset here. And then, you know, jump forward many, many years, and, you know, he got sick, and that's kind of when we all started talking about it here at the house and what to do and how to handle this, and I asked if I could take his call sign, and he agreed, and shortly thereafter, you know, just weeks after that is when he passed, and I started this journey, you know, and, you know, here, let me reset again. I've always had two regrets. One, that I didn't join the military, and two, that I never got my Eagle Scout badge, and I've added a third one to that, and is that I never got to play radio with my pops. So, you know, 100% he's the reason I'm here and the reason that I'm doing this, and I just could have wished I would have paid attention a little bit more when I was younger and found an interest back when it truly mattered instead of waiting till it was too late. But that's my story, and yeah, that's what I got. KG5LXS.
I consider myself privileged to have known your dad, and he'd be proud of you, bud. Very proud of you as far as you've come, as quick as you've come in ham radio, and some of the stuff that you're getting out and doing now with that radio of yours, and your mom going from you know, nothing to a extra as fast as she did. Just absolutely phenomenal. I know Marty'd be absolutely tickled with both of you, and to see it. And hey, every time you take that antenna out, set it up, and hook up that radio, he's with you, bud. I can guarantee it. So, one last question for you, Brandon. What are you doing for Field Day?
We'll be going out with Louisville this year. Well, to be honest with you, I'll be going out with Louisville every year that they have the Scout Barn and the air conditioning and a kitchen and bathrooms and showers. So we'll just call a spade on that one. But yeah, nope, I'll be going out to Louisville We're at the Troop 771 barn over in Flower Mound, and I will have one of the stations. I'll be running SSB and digital, and I'll have my tent and my Go box and everything else set up there, and we're going to make magic. We're going to get all the contacts, so all of them. I think that's the rumor, every one of them. Just kidding. KJ5LXS.
Brandon, I am tickled to hear that you're going to do that. I'm probably going to do some of what I normally do. I like to float around to 3, 4, sometimes 5 locations. It just depends on how much time I have, and I'm probably going to hit several because that's what I like to do. I appreciate it, bud, and I will catch you sometime this weekend. All right, so I'm going to make a call out to a gentleman with the call sign. Logan, if you're listening, N5RLD, are you with us?
Hey, Scott, it's Logan, N5RLD. You copy me?
Sir, what are you talking to me on, and antenna-wise, power-wise, and where are you located?
Well, I picked up a halfway 2-meter antenna for my HP, and I'm hitting you from Pilot Point and sitting in a chair in my yard. This is probably the best antenna I've ever done.
I am actually tickled to hear that because, Dakar has a group of voters that's here in the metro, and I realize a lot of you that are here on AllStar don't have access to that. Dakar's voter network is extensive, and sometimes we get people that are way out on the fringe that'll hit one of these voters, and it may have a little bacon to it, but we still like to hear it. Logan, I also been hearing something about you've been playing with 6 meters lately now, dude. Tell me, what are you using, what are you doing, and what have you been doing?
Well, on 6 meters, I've been using my 3-element Yagi. That's been doing extremely well. And I encourage everyone to get on 6 meters, especially right now, because the band is typically wide open. So if you're at Tech or anywhere second above, you should be on 6 meters. HF is great, but 6 meters is booming right now.
Folks, this guy's telling you, if you're at Tech, 6 meters has been open. Now, I can't say I've had a lot of time myself to go play on 6 meters, but I will say I have seen a lot of chat happening back and forth with friends on Signal as 6 meters has come open. What modes are you working, voice and digital, both, Logan?
I've done mainly digital because everyone's nice and packed, nice and neat, where I can find them quite easily. But I've seen some people do SSC, I've seen some FM on X and some CW as well. But it's all out there. You just gotta hunt it.
If a technician's listening, but he's all set up for FT8 or FT4, he can find you on Signal, and your call sign is N5RLD on 6 meters square.
You can reach out to me. We can coordinate on Signal. We can coordinate on QRZ email, whatever's preferred for people. But I'm looking to see more activity in this area. I mean, there's already quite a bit of activity, but more activity is even better to get some more DX out there.
We have a quite large group of AllStar folks here this afternoon, and that's why I'm going, maybe you need to run across that road to that big old park that's just north of you and make some AllStar DMR contacts from the park. You can activate it, right?
Yes, I could activate it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I would like to point out that I just saw a couple days ago that 6 meters was open to Hawaii. So if you're looking for Hawaii on 6 meters, it's out there. And about a month ago, I made contact with New Zealand on 6 meters. So the band's really open. So it's a lot of fun out there.
Been my intention to have a couple beams up before it got warm so that maybe I could do some 6 meters this round, but nope, that's going to happen this fall. So I've got to rebuild a pergola, it looks like, and some antennas are going to have to come down to be able to do that. But Logan, I appreciate you for jumping in. I knew that I kind of put you under the gun in some text messages in the background to jump in and talk about 6 meters. So I'm going to ask you the question of the day. Was your dad or your father, stepdad, whatever, instrumental at all with your interest in ham radio?
I can't say my dad was super helpful with getting into ham radio, but my dad's always been encouraging, encouraged me to use Linux and find free alternatives for things and things like that. So in a way, he's been instrumental, but in ham radio directly, I wouldn't say so. But it's actually the other way around. I'm trying to get him on board, but it's going to take a little bit more effort.
I've got a friend that he's in ham radio, and his dad's gone as far as getting his license, but we've yet to have got him much on the radio at all. I'm not going to call him out, but yeah, there's a few dads that are that way, and hey, this is a fun way to go do something with your family. I was going to say, now, do you take your kids out yet, Logan, with radio?
Occasionally, we operate in the shack right now, but at the park they're a little too young to want to sit. They're one's 2 and the other's about 10 months, and so they're not super interested, except to spin the dial a bunch of times. And so that's fun as long as I'm not using the radio. Otherwise, I'm all over the place.
That's how to get him started. Let him play with the buttons. Lee used to tell a story about his grandson that used to come in and sit and watch him do radio. And he found him one day answering specific people without the microphone in his hand, but he would answer them and sit and have a conversation with the guys on the radio. And, there's another friend of ours, too, that I can remember his daughter's first contact on radio. It was rather cute, so... don't be surprised if the microphone and the mic fright does not bother them. They're going to jump in and play. Logan, you got anything else for us today?
No, not quite, but I see Bentley making a comment that I'm a digital-only guy, but I just want to let him know that I do some SSB work as well, but not as much, so... Bentley, I do more than digital, so I'm seeing your message right now as you're typing. I can see you. For those of you that are questioning about that, there's a bunch of us that chat on Signal. If you're a member of the LARC Club, there's quite a long list of Signal groups that we do. I know other places do Discord. LARC decided to do Signal, and in fact, that's what's going off in the background here. There's quite a bunch that are chatting there, as well as if you go over to the YouTube, Sean's got a few folks that are chatting over there. So I appreciate every little comment that we get in those areas because it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to stay connected. This is KG5RJR. I'll be right back. Needed to go ahead and let the repeater catch up there. All right, so we talked to several guys on RF. So let's do this, because sometimes we have problems with RF getting in, and then sometimes we have problems with AllStar getting in. But I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to stop for a second, and remember, we've got brand new operators that have just got their ticket, and maybe they have not pressed the PTT button before. So I want to stop for a second here during the net, because we've been going about 40 minutes here. If you are a new tech and you have gotten your license within the last 30 days and would like to check in on the net, I'm going to stop for a second here and ask for you to jump in the Thrush call.
Nothing like putting you on the spot, and nothing right now. Okay, that's perfectly fine. We'll go from there. And, you know, if you feel so moved further into the net, join in. Have some fun. All right, so what I want to do next is we got a bunch of AllStar places connected up here. If you are on AllStar and would like to join us this afternoon, throw out your call. I'm going to get one of you, and we'll put you on.
Kilo X-Ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Net recognizes Kilo X-Ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Sean, you're on AllStar today. I can hear it.
AllStar. Yeah, I went with AllStar.
What's wrong with AllStar? However, you're going to have to back up off that mic just a tiny bit. It's a little hot.
Okay, my bad. We better now?
That's much better. And you know what's funny is when we get Sean on AllStar, he's usually too close to the mic. But when I get him on an RF microphone, he's way back from the mic. So, Sean, how are you doing this Happy Father's Day? And tell me, was your dad instrumental in getting you into amateur radio?
It's going. Streams are going well, so that's good news. As far as my dad being instrumental to me getting my ham radio license, I wouldn't say he was instrumental to it. He was definitely a help. Another dad was instrumental of me at least knowing about ham radio. I would also probably say I'm instrumental in my dad's ham radio career more than he is of mine. But we try and play radio a little bit here and there together, which is it can be a fun time. I usually learn something and he learns something.
That's one thing that I want to really poke buttons about is I would like to see more ways that families can interact with amateur radio. So getting out, doing something together. I mean, in other parts, we go out and we go hiking and take a radio along and stand at the top of a huge mountain and make contacts. Folks, take your kids, take your family, go to the park, take a radio with you, sit and work some radio together, and then just enjoy the day in the park. There's all kinds of ways that you can include your family in this hobby, and it is really, it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way, especially if you got younger kids or older family members. Getting together and doing something together outside is fantastic. So, Sean, is your dad coming to field day with you?
Oh, no, I take that back. He will have other engagements to deal with, unfortunately. But I was hoping to get him to field day, but unfortunately I've got other stuff to do. However, I think I'm going to try and get him on the radio right now if you give me a second, Scott.
Will, go right ahead.
This is KG5RJR checking in.
Good afternoon. I've talked to you lots of times in person, but hey, we're talking on AllStar this afternoon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Just watching the ball game and watching Sean on his stuff. Still trying to figure out how to get that 7100 icon to work.
That's the fun part about radio. We're always learning and learning new radios, learning new toys, and playing with stuff. So I'm tickled to death to hear you on the radio today. And so, have they made it a good Father's Day for you today?
Yes, they did. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there also.
Good to hear. Glad to hear that. And hey, that 7100, that's a sweet little radio. I'm glad to hear that you're tinkering and playing with it. I did hear from a little bird that there's going to have to be an adapter cable made for a microphone for it. So either he brings it this way, or we got another little place he can take it to and get that sorted pretty quickly. But so I'm going to ask you this. With amateur radio and playing with amateur radio, which of the things that you've seen Sean do, or some of the things that you've seen on video or whatever, which one interests you the most?
That's a tough question. There's a lot of stuff that he does that's pretty interesting. I think most of it's the videos that he makes up for the different types of equipment and does with those. That seemed to be pretty interesting.
Hey, that's awesome. Awesome to hear. And like I said, I've known you for several years now, and my job, I guess, is to poke the button more frequently to get you onto a radio. I am tickled to have you here with us on Digitally Speaking this afternoon, and as you can see, it's pretty laid back. We have a lot of fun. You got anything else for us? Did you go to the Ham Fest?
Yes, I did. I was there for a little bit. Got to see the balloon rise off. That was pretty cool. I like watching those on video once they get out to, I guess, post outer space. But yeah, we did that. That was pretty nice.
I also wanted to break away and get out there and watch that balloon launch because I got lucky enough to see one the other day when Dakara did the kind of like impromptu cookout at one of the locations, and Andrew brought out one of the balloons and launched it there. I couldn't get away from the table. We were that busy. So I just really enjoy the fact that we get to share so many different aspects of this hobby. There's so many different people that are doing so many things that you can't do them all at the same time. And I just enjoy, pick one, have fun, and enjoy it for a while. But you got anything else today for the net?
Nothing else today, but everybody, happy Father's Day again in 7-3.
Appreciate you checking in. You and Sean and the whole family, you have a great Father's Day. This is KG5RJR, and you can hear my phone going off in the background. That is one of the children calling me for Father's Day, and I'm going to have to call her back because we're with you here on the net this afternoon, and I'm going to be here with you for just as long as we want to talk this Sunday. Is KG5RJR. I'm Scott. I'm your host this Sunday afternoon for Digitally Speaking. Been going for just about 51 minutes here. Let's take another check-in right now via AllStar. If you're on AllStar and like to check in this afternoon, throw out your call sign.
Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray X-ray. This is Joe.
Recognizes Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray X-ray. Where are you located at, Joe?
Hey Scott, I'm in Aubrey. Just right off of 1385.
And as you see, folks, we use AllStar even locally. I love it. I really do. I think it's phenomenal. We've got so many folks that play with so many different modes around here that AllStar is one of my favorites. Joe, how is your Father's Day going?
Well, so far so good. had some issues over the last few days with that big storm that came through last week. We had a lightning strike, I think, near the house, and it knocked out a couple outlets in one section of the house. Looks like it knocked out my board on our HVAC for the AC, so we don't have any AC going. It knocked out one of my sensors for my garage door opener, and I think that's going to be the circuit board, and it knocked out my sprinkler system. So yeah, it's been an interesting last 2-3 days, that's for sure. And I'm still recouping from my eye surgery I had about 3 weeks ago, unfortunately, but it's coming right along.
That doesn't sound good. Power knocked out, equipment knocked out. So I'll ask this question: if you rounded up like a portable cooler to keep cool, because I do know it's gotten awfully warm and humid out there.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got power throughout the house. There was only one section of the house that got knocked out, and once the electrician guy was able to check all the circuits, we were able to get the power restored, to the house. But I don't have any AC, unfortunately, and I've got to manually open and close the garage door, which how we did that growing up, I have absolutely no idea, because it sure is a pain. But we're getting along, and it's still kind of difficult for me to focus on anything for an extended period of time, which is why I'm on AllStar, because I haven't had a chance to set up my radio or anything yet. So back to the net.
Great stuff, Bill. Well, the party sounds lovely. I'm glad.
I'm not sure who's connected up with AllStar there, but chatting about the party. But yeah, this is KG5RJR. You're connected to Digitally Speaking, and we're talking with Joe. Joe, I appreciate that. You're having a little angle there with the power, and yeah. So I want to ask you a question here too. Was your father instrumental at all in your ham radio and getting your ham radio license?
This is Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray. No, he wasn't. He wasn't into radios when I was growing up, or anything electronic. And I've only had my ticket for a little over a year, and he passed about 4 years ago. So didn't have a chance to play any radio with him. Been trying to. I've got 3 kids. They live throughout the United States, and been trying to talk to them to get into it, but they just think I turned into a nerd, and so far no, not a lot of interest on the kids' part. But it's been a lot of fun since I got my ticket. Just got my extra after my first surgery about a month ago. So it's been fun, most definitely. Back to the net.
Well, congratulations on the extra. If nobody else has said that yet, I'm going to say it because I know that's a big feat. I remember when I did mine 9 years ago, and that was a big day. I worked my tail off for that for 9 months, I think. Yeah, I lived and ate and breathed that book. And in fact, I took some good advice from Lee that used to run this net here. His comment was, this is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a college course. Slow down a little bit, and you're probably going to absorb it because, yeah, the first 2 trips to the testing location, I did not do well. But, took his advice, kind of slowed down a little bit and just enjoyed it a little bit. And, all of a sudden, boom, I passed the test. So, Joe, I am very proud to hear that you are an extra and just extra. And, Joe, have you got anything else for the net today?
No, that's about it. I was just listening to the net and watching the golf tournament and chilling out. So I just thought I'd check in. Hopefully I'll be able to join you guys for a field day. I'm not really sure yet. I've got to talk to the surgeon on Wednesday, and we'll see. I still can't drive, but hopefully I can make it out there. It'd be nice to see you guys face to face. But thanks for taking my call. Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray X-ray. I'm clear.
Glad to have you here as well, Joe. Appreciate you checking into the net here on Sunday. And for those of you that are tooling around on AllStar, or you're just here RF in the metro, or even outside the metro where somebody's got us connected up, this is Digitally Speaking. We run from roughly 2 o'clock until sometime close to 4 every Sunday. And if the weather doesn't interrupt or something else doesn't happen along the way, we're here. And we love to have you aboard and have you be part of the net. I am KG5RJR. I'm your host this Sunday afternoon, and we're talking about all things radio, digital, non-digital, and Father's Day. So if you'd like to be next, throw out your call. Let's talk.
Kilo 3, Juliet Romeo Zulu, Jeff.
Afternoon, Jeff from Delaware. How you doing today, bud?
Good afternoon. Doing good. Just enjoying my Sunday, actually. I think. Why did I say Saturday? I don't know. Yeah, 3-day weekend. Was kind of nice to have. Back to the grind for a full week coming up, and then another short week. But busy week, definitely. 2 weeks be busy. Yeah, not much going on. Just getting laundry done, working on some stuff, and getting ready for this evening, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for dinner and the rest of that. Not that of an interesting Father's Day. K3 Jersey.
So, Jeff, I will ask the question of the day, and actually I'm going to say 2 things. First, you are coming out to the Hamfest next year. Yeah, you've got to get out from Delaware to the metro. You just need to come. You've been part of the net here for quite a little while, and it would be so much fun to have you hang out with a bunch of us coming out from Delaware out to the Metroplex. Yes, it's warmer here, but yeah, you won't melt. We've got AC. And I want to say thank you for being here on the net. So the other question I've got is, did your father, Dad, have anything to do with you becoming part of ham radio?
Having fun with this net, so I appreciate you guys letting me come on here and check in. You never know, I might come out there one time. I am in the mood to leave Delaware for good and never look back, get rid of my the stuff here and move forward with stuff. Texas is one place I'm thinking about going to, so we'll see in the future. Not directly. My father did not have any direct influence on me getting into amateur radio. Back in the 70s and early 80s, my family did have CB radios in their cars. My mother and my father both had radios in their cars. I played on them every once in a while until they decided to leave their cars outside the garage one night and leave their cars unlocked. And that put an end to that right there. Yeah, those disappeared, and never thought about radio again, really, till about 12 years ago, maybe. And yeah, then I decided to get my amateur radio ticket for a few different reasons. But yeah, but no direct influence on me getting my radio license.
I want to say it. Some folks are not going to like it, but I'm going to say it. CB radio does count. And in all honesty, it doesn't matter how we got here. Radio-wise, it's the fact that we're here, we're playing radio, we're having fun, and we're encouraging others to do it. If you came on via CB radio, you came on via GMRS, FRS, whatever, we're glad to have you in radio, because I'm here to tell you, this hobby rocks, and every single person that gets into it, it is so much fun. There's so much fun to do, and we could have friends from clear across the country. Now, With that being said, I got one more thing for you, Jeff. If you are going to move to Texas, I'm here to tell you, move in the fall or winter. You get to at least acclimatize before you encounter the inferno that is summer. If you move during the summer here, yeah, you're gonna hate life, and it gets warm. It's a little more than what you're ready for, and yeah, it took me about a year to get acclimatized the first time I came to Texas. Second time I was wise enough to say, okay, we'll go in the fall. So, anyways, Jeff, I appreciate you being here, bud. And have you got anything else for us today?
Well, I have been to Texas a few times. The first two times was in March. Went out to Austin for South by Southwest in the late 90s. So yeah, it was hot there. It was like, I remember it was like mid-80s, and that was March, and it's a lot warmer than it is here during that time of the year. The second time, or the third time actually, was to San Antonio, and I have no recollection of what time of year that was. But I do remember it was warm out, and I was wearing no jacket, or I wasn't wearing a jacket, that is. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Good advice to come during the fall or the winter. Like I said, you never know. Other than that, everyone have a good day. Enjoy your Father's Day, and have a good week ahead. K3 Jersey 73.
Have you with us, Jeff? This is KG5RJR. This is Digitally Speaking, and I'm going to do just a real quick look at the announcements here because, yeah, we do have to do a couple announcements. Need to let you know, hey, if you are looking for Field Day, if you're looking for a location to go to Field Day, I don't care where you are in the United States or outside the United States, go to the ARL website and click on the Field Day locator. Click on that monster, find a local club to go out and play and look and see what they're doing for Field Day. If you've never been, I'm going to invite you to several that are going to be out here, but at the same point, look up the clubs that are in your area on that, and you're going to see where they're located, where they're doing Field Day, and they're going to be more than happy to see somebody new that's interested in radio out there looking to play radio. One of the clubs that I mentioned earlier are going to have some type of a Field Day deployment, and that's going to be Denton County Amateur Radio Association. That's DACARA. And if you go to their www.dacara.net, you're going to hear more information about them and where they're at. Yes, I believe they are registered at their location on that locator. K5RWK.org. That's the Richardson Wireless Club. Again, you're going to be able to find them on that locator. W5AC, that's down at Texas A&M. That group always puts up a fine effort for Field Day. Pause for the repeater. Brandon checked in a few minutes ago with us from the W5LVC. That's the Louisville Amateur Radio Club, LARA. And, yep, they're going to put up an effort for Field Day. They're also on that list because I went and looked a little bit ago. And the last one I want to remember here is the Lake Area Amateur Radio Club. That's LARK, L-A-A-R-K. If you go to K5LRK.org, you're going to see information about where they're going to be doing their Field Day. And if anybody is around from LARK, if you throw out your call right now, let me know what you're doing for Field Day. Exactly the man I was hoping to hear from. Randall, you're going to have to turn up the power just a tad bit and climb up on that microphone. You were kind of in the weeds. But, buddy, tell me, what are you doing? What do you got planned for Field Day, and where are you going to be at?
I walked outside. I'll look at the handheld at the moment. How does that sound?
He says you need to climb up on the roof. I'm kidding. Don't climb on the roof. I I was with some folks that climbed on Bentley's roof here a couple weeks ago, and somebody lost the bottom of their shoe because it got that hot. Randall, you sound much better. Go ahead.
Great, Scott. Yeah, my house is a Faraday cage. Nothing works from inside. Hey, look, okay, so the LARC Club, Lake Area Amateur Radio Club, we are doing our field day for the second year or the third year in a row out at Nash Park. That's not Nash Park. It's Lions Club Park in the Colony, but it's on Nash Street. So if you get to Nash Street or Nash Drive in the Colony, you'll find it. We'll have some. We should have 2 antennas out set up pretty early. Now, here's the thing: if you want to socialize a little bit, we're going to probably hit the Whataburger, whatever Whataburger is closest to that location. We're probably going to hit that up about 9:30 Saturday morning. Let me reset. Mark, we really view Field Day as a day to meet new people, as a social day. Now we're going to have 3 radios operating, full time, full blast. But that doesn't mean that if you show up, we're all going to be focused on the radio. If you show up, we're going to talk to you. We're going to have a conversation with you. If you want to get there super early and hang out with us all day, well, come to Whataburger, I guess, around 9 or 9:30 in the morning on Saturday, and then we'll set up around 10. And in the contest, or not really a contest, the field day starts at 1. We'll probably operate till maybe 4:30 or 5 and take it on down. And then if we still have energy, we'll go visit some of these other field days in the area. That's all I can think of at the moment, Scott. Anything else I might be missing, or is Sean's helping me with this deal? Well, I say Sean's helping. He's really driving me with this. If Sean has any feedback, he's welcome to come in.
You covered it pretty good there, Randall. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and how you guys were doing it, and what's going on. I'll probably be over there first thing in the morning because it's nice and cool, and help. I like to help set up. That's what I like to do, and usually stick around till lunchtime, and then after that I mosey on to my other couple of locations that I try to go to. But I've always enjoyed getting out there and helping you put up the effort that you're going to put up at LARC. It's always one that I've had a lot of fun with. So, Randall, I appreciate it. So I'll ask you the question of the day. Was your dad instrumental at all with you getting into ham radio? And I already know the second question that I'm going to ask along with that. Have you as a dad been instrumental in getting your kids on ham radio?
Well, first of all, let me say one thing about the LARC field day and a tradition that sort of happened in the last year. So we sort of have a tradition now that whoever is sort of like the assistant or second in command or whatever you want to call it, that person then becomes the general for the next field day. So Sean, without realizing it, has sort of become the second in command. Well, guess what? That means when winter field day comes around, or next field day, or whichever one he can step up, he'll be the general. So I'm hoping he's ready for that, and I think he'll be prepared. Now let me reset. My dad is a technical person when it comes to fixing electronic things. So we're going up on the farm. I'm going to find out. Probably a repeater. They were commercial receivers. So way back to the 80s, 1983 or something, my dad tells a story about me being in his truck, and he had to go out and do something. He left me in the truck, and I was probably 2 or 3. And he said when I came back, all of his radios were changed, all of his frequencies, everything was off. And from that age, I've always just enjoyed pushing buttons and curious about things. So that's probably where a lot of it started. Another thing that was kind of interesting to me, and I'll come back. Let me reset again. About 12 or 13, we moved into a house, and whoever had left an old radio. And it wasn't like a tube radio or anything, but they left the radio back in the house. And so I would get on AM radio late at night, the AM radio, and hear all the music. So that's probably more than anything else made me interested in radio. propagation worked and how stations would come in from Chicago or Dallas late in the middle of the night. That was all legal. Now, as far as my kids, let me reset. Go forward, Scott. Can you still hear me good?
Coming and going. Stand still. You can tell it when you're walking. All of a sudden, it'll get really interfered with. But, yeah, stand still and it'll do just fine.
I'm standing right under my 6-meter antenna, and I'm standing right next to my BTV. Both of them are close enough that there's probably some coupling going on. But anyway, you know, my daughter, I used to take her, when I first, back in 2020, I got into Parks on the Air, and I would take her all over the place. And we would go to Parks on the Air activations, and she wasn't interested in radio. She would go out and, you know, fish or swim in the lake or wherever we were. She would have a lot of fun. My son, he was harder to get to go do things like that, but he did go with me on a few activations. But what's interesting is my son now has his ham radio license. He studies once he started college. He started college last fall, and I think it was by December he got his license, got it done. So I'm proud of him for that. One of our good buddies, Scott Cross. Well, maybe I shouldn't mention his last name, but Scott gave Matthew a really nice radio. So anyway, he's learning about that, and he did get a small scholarship from the ARRL for being an engineering student in college. So all that is really pretty cool. So I hope to get them on the air more, but you know, as kids, they're not really interested in radio that much.
Oh man, you know, like Brandon said, he wished he'd gotten on more now with his dad. Now that his dad's passed, so yeah, keep trying, dude, because really, this is a lot of fun for families. If nothing else, you get to kind of share. You know, I'm speaking about family here too, because my daughter and my wife both got licensed in amateur radio, and I will say, was it because I did? Well, my wife did buy me my first radio, but she was not interested at all. Now, oh yeah, man, go look at the ham radio table at one of the ham fests that we've got, and you tell me she's not interested in ham radio. She is. Randall, have you got anything else for us today?
That's probably all, Scott. I've been listening to you guys. I'm only on the handheld. I disconnected everything with all the storms that were coming through and hadn't reconnected. But right now I'm organizing the DX Commander, getting everything nice and tidy so that when we pull it all out on Saturday, it'll actually work. So I'm thinking about going and testing it this afternoon, but as hot as it is, I may just have to wait till another day this week. But anyway, thanks for running the net. We'll talk again soon. This is K5CCW, back to the next call.
And maybe we'll get you to host a net here in the next couple of openings that we've got on our list. This is KG5RJR. You're listening to Digitally Speaking. It's about 15 past hour 15 so far. And, yeah, this is something we do every Sunday. So, with that being said, if you'd like to be next this afternoon, throw out your call sign. Let's get you on the air.
July 5 November, Kilo Charlie Trot. Heading to Oklahoma.
Okay, that was a double, but Fred in Oklahoma, go.
Kilo Delta 5 Foxtrot, Mike Uniform, Freddie Mac, Oklahoma. How are y'all today? Can you copy me okay? Go ahead.
Hey, sir, I do copy you and copy you well. You are doing phenomenal with that AllStar note, and it kind of sounds like you might be mobile.
Very much mobile. I travel to the next county every Sunday, spend some time with my mother, and make sure everything's good to go there, and make a few stops along the way, and now I'm headed back. My kids are waiting on me to get home for Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and hope everything's going well. the weather has turned completely into summer in Oklahoma. Yeah, I call it the North Texas influence because I think we had 2 or 3 days of spring, and yeah, it's 90 degrees again. So loving it. Hope everyone's having a great Father's Day. Back to you, Net Control. This is Kilo Delta 5 Foxtrot Mike Uniform.
Having lived both locations, yes, there is a definite Texas influence to summer, and another state influence during the other portion of the year. Because you can tell up there when the wind quits blowing, it's going to be summer. It's on. Freddie, I'm going to ask you the question of the day. So, was your dad influential in your trip into ham radio? And have you been influential in your kids in ham radio?
Well, no. God love him, my dad was, he did have a CB in his truck in the 70s. It was a thing back then. He talked on a little bit. And I guess that would have been my influence that I got from him. Because, you know, late 70s, mid to late 70s, everybody had a CB in their truck, car. I think there was even one in Mom's car, if I'm not mistaken. But, it was really cool because we'd go visit the grandparents on the weekends, and they were not far from a turnpike. And, we just sit in the truck and talk to the truckers. It was great, actually. And someone, when I was 6, 7 years old, Christmas, birthday, I'm not sure which, bought me a set of General Electric walkie-talkies for kids. I found some the other day just like it and grabbed on them. They were like 49 megahertz. And they worked pretty well on a 9-volt battery. Back then, 9-volt batteries are super expensive, according to my mother. So if you've got more than one, you were considered yourself lucky. But, as far as the influence on my kids, somewhat. It's not everlasting. I actually had one of my sons take the test before, and of course he failed, and I haven't got him back up to the plate yet. But we're working on it. We'll see how it goes. But that's about the long and short of it. It's been up to my dad. We've been pushing cattle and working outside perpetually. But it was what it was. But all good in the hood. Back to you, KG5 FMU.
He took a moment to come back there. Freddie, I do appreciate you checking in as you're moving down the road. You know, my buddy Cliff and I were just discussing that the other day. We were having a conversation about putting an AllStar node and a hotspot all together in some nice little mobile package that you could plug that in and just take it with you and enjoy yourself on your radio from your vehicle in your own node. That's something that I'm feeling that I may want to do this year. I think that is on my list of things to do before the year's out. And I do appreciate everything you do for the ham radio community, Freddie. You do a phenomenal job teaching us about AllStar. This is KG5RJR. There was a double in there with Freddie as he came in. If you were in that pileup, if you throw out your call sign next, I'd like to recognize you.
India 5, Juliet, Charlie, Mike.
Oh, India 5, Juliet, Charlie, Mike, I believe it was. And your name?
Here is Thomas in Grapevine.
Good afternoon, Thomas in Grapevine. How are you doing today, bud?
I am doing well, and the question of the day got me rather sentimental, if I might share.
What this net's all about today, as well as, you know, we're all getting to share these memories and details, and I don't know about you. It's a lot of fun.
All right, well, it's good memory about my father. My dad's been gone. It'll be 11 years in August. And my dad was an Eagle Scout. He knew Morse code. he drug us all over town to find a radio that could get shortwave so we could listen to ham radio. And my dad never became a ham because back then a decent equipment was, $2,000? And my dad was so frugal and just Roman, he would never spend that on himself. And so I got licensed a few years after he passed, and a bunch of things just clicked into place of, oh my gosh, I got to do something Dad never did, and he would be so proud. So, yeah, my dad very much got me into radio. He did late night work at a volunteer work at a Christian radio station, and I slept in the AM transmitter room many a night, and I think that's where I caught the bug initially. So that would be, and I am trying to corrupt children. Let me reset. Work with youth at church and keep trying to come up with something really cool to get the youth addicted to ham radio. You know, like, come on, kid, just try it. The first taste is free.
That sounds so bad. Oh, dude. You know, thinking back as you were discussing and talking about sleeping in an AM transmitter. So when my older two children were small, I was in broadcast radio. I spent multiple years in broadcast radio and spent multiple years working at the television station. It was associated to the radio station, in fact. And my son's first steps were in front of the AM transmitter as his mother and I had him walk back and forth between the two of us in the radio room. And there's a few pictures that still exist from when I did broadcasts that are floating around out there. And that's one of those dad moments about radio that it's kind of cool. You made me think about that. That's actually really neat, and I'm going to have to share that with my son here a little bit later this afternoon. But I appreciate you checking in, and thank you very much for being part of the net today. Is there anything else you got for us?
Oh, other than to maybe tell the dad joke about the only reason Texas doesn't secede from the Union is how bad Oklahoma sucks, or how much Oklahoma sucks, but I really don't believe that. It's just a funny joke.
I wasn't going to tell that joke, just because, I do spend a little time up in Oklahoma, and I enjoy my Oklahoma friends, my Texas friends, Kansas, Missouri, the whole bunch. It's a great place. And if you're listening outside the area, no, I'm not trying to leave you out, but it is a great place to live. I really enjoy it. Appreciate you checking in, Thomas. All right, if you'd like to be next this afternoon, we still have just a little more time left for the net. Why don't you call? Be a part of the conversation.
Kilo Golf 5, Alpha Papa Lima.
Net recognizes Kilo Golf 5. I believe it was Alpha Papa Lima. If I got that wrong, try it again.
No, you got it. Kilo Golf 5, Alpha Papa Lima.
So I'm glad to have you this afternoon. I see you're coming in from the Richardson repeater. What's your name? And, hey, how are you doing today?
Great, yeah, actually, I'm across the street from the Richardson repeater. My name is Patrick. And like I said, I'm in Richardson.
Patrick, we're glad that you checked in this afternoon, and I'm going to ask you the question. So, was your dad influential in your getting into ham radio? And if you've got kids, are you being influential in them doing ham radio?
It's KG5RJR. APL. Yeah, actually, been hearing y'all talk on this net. I really wanted to get in and share it. My dad was extremely influential in getting my ham radio license. He always was on the radio doing stuff, this or that, and he was always encouraging us to get our license, but I never did. Then one day, his birthday was coming up. I had no idea what to get him. So I went and studied for about a couple of days, took my test, and then for his birthday, I showed him my ticket. At first he didn't understand what it was, but then once he realized, and it all clicked, big smile on his face, he was extremely overjoyed to see that I had gotten my license.
Now that's a cool story, being able to surprise your dad with it. You got your license. I will say I do know a couple of the operators that are in the area. As their kids have gotten licensed, they were surprised in the same fashion. So, you got any stories you'd like to share with us about doing radio with your dad?
Yeah, we got kind of one interesting. I guess it's about 5 years now. We went back. I hiked the Colorado Trail, which is about a 500-mile trail, Denver to Durango. Wonderful thing. But he wasn't able to hike it, but I was. So he was driving, and wherever the road and the intersection would meet up. And ham radio was a big way for us to coordinate our meetup. So that was kind of nice. And it actually was. We had a few interesting conversations. We had a few interesting ways of communicating. Often the signal's too low for me to transmit on an HD, and so I would use the digital means to do that. But even that wouldn't work out, so I would just write 8-character messages as my call sign, or as who was transmitting. Get real fast, and then you would be able to see how that was going. So, just a little troubleshooting on the fly. But yeah, that was great. KG5RJR back then.
Hey, that's an awesome story, Patrick, and I'm glad you shared that with us. And you get to share some time with radio with your dad. That's a phenomenal story. I really appreciate it. And did you get out to the Ham Fest at all here in the DFW Metro?
Yeah, and enjoyed it. My wife and I were there, and a couple of friends come up from College Station, joined us as well. It was fun to talk. The lecture was great. We were a little overwhelmed by all the booths. After a while, all the booths and stuff there just blended together and looked the same. But we did find a few things. They were more, I wouldn't call them junk, but they were close to it, and we actually got them. They're radio themed, but we're gonna get them and turn them into some bookshelves or something like that. But yeah, we got to have. We enjoyed it.
Excellent. Glad to hear, and good to hear that you got your wife out there too. That's the one thing. When I first got started with this, everybody's going like, "Oh, there's not that many women in radio." Over the last few years, I'm going to take issue with that. There's getting to be more and more women in ham radio every day, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal that we're getting to do that as husbands and wives and as families, because that's what it's all about: getting out, enjoying this, and having fun with others. Patrick, I appreciate you checking in, and you have a great rest of your Father's Day afternoon. Who'd like to be next this afternoon? Throw out your call.
Alpha 9, Juliet Alpha Mike.
Kilo Alpha 9, Juliet Alpha Mike, I think it was.
Correction, it was Whiskey Alpha 9, Juliet Alpha Mike. Jeff here in Denton.
Good afternoon, Jeff. How you doing today, bud?
Doing real good. I'm walking around the house here listening on my Baofeng radio and getting ready to leave. We're going to go out for dinner. and David K5RJR told me that y'all were talking about influential fathers, so I thought I'd chime in. Over.
Are definitely talking about Father's Day and influential ham radio fathers or non-ham radio fathers that, did they influence you in getting into radio?
Roger, I'd have to say yes, absolutely, positively, 1,000%. I've been around amateur radio since I was a kid, growing up. Ever since I was born, my dad's been an amateur radio operator, and I can tell you lots more about it. You can see his station on ArizonaAM.net. If you look it up online, ArizonaAM.net, and look for W7UO, Whiskey 7 Uniform Oscar. He lived in Arizona. That's where he retired. Break for a repeater. He had 40 acres out there in southern Arizona, 50 miles south of Tucson, 13 miles from the Mexico border. He had two 200-foot guide towers and one 100-foot self-supporting tower with a log periodic on top of an 18-element log periodic. One of the 200-foot towers had a 20-meter 3-element beam. It was huge beam. Two towers were about 500 foot apart. He had a dipole strung between them, fed by an open wire ladder line, and then the other tower was a unipole itself. Break for a repeater. Growing up as a child, I learned Morse code really quick because he was slapping out that key. He had the, I think it's a paddle key where you go back and forth, left and right. It's one day and one way, and da is the other way. I think it's called a paddle key. And so I learned da really quickly when I was young. CQDX, I believe that is, unless I'm mistaken. And so yes, I've been around amateur radio all my life. My dad is still licensed. He's not active, but his license is good for another 2 years, I believe. And so there you have it. Back to you, Net Controller, WA9JAM.
You rattle off that CW so easy. You know, CW was something that I still struggle with because my ears just don't. It doesn't connect for me. And a lot of people have said, hey, we can. No. When you have a roadblock in your mind, you're not going to learn it. It's just not going to happen. But I really do appreciate anybody that does that, and I think it's great. Your dad got you started with that, and it's stuck, and you continue on with it. And that is phenomenal that he still kept his license up. My uncle still got his, and probably will for, I think it's another 2 years. But, yeah, he's not active anymore either. But, you know, hey, we're just going to continue doing what we can do and make our dads proud and our family members proud. I'm glad to hear you checked in this afternoon, Jeff. Thank you very much for checking in with us. We've got about 20 minutes left here before we have to close it. So if you'd like to be next, throw out your call. Let's get you recognized.
Juliet 5, November Kilo Charlie, Pops Mobile.
Afternoon, Pops. How you doing, bud? And yeah, tell me, did you have a family member that was influential in getting you into amateur radio? And are you being influential in getting others in your family into ham radio?
Say no. Basically, what I did was I bought a Jeep. In the Jeep, I put myself a CB. Couldn't get any contacts. I was told, hey, get the GMRS. So I got the GMRS. And the guys over on the 600 said, man, you should go out and get your technician license at least. So that's what I did. And so that was my introduction. So it wasn't even though my dad was a pilot for many airlines and stuff like that, so he knew how to talk on the radio, we never really talked about it at all. We talked about flying, but not about communication. So, and as far as me, I do have my son and daughter kind of interested in it now, and my wife will chat with us on the GMRS side of things. She hasn't really gotten into ham, but she knows I have my little room upstairs where I go hide out for a few hours every day and do my communication with everybody. So that's my experience. Back to the net.
Like I said earlier, Pops, it does not, there's nothing wrong about how people come to ham radio, just as long as we come to ham radio. That's all I care about. If it took GMRS, a Jeep, or doing CBs while they're out going from point to point. I shared with you a conversation we had earlier this week about a friend of mine, and in fact called me on the phone just a minute ago, how he used to go out with a group of Jeeps, and ultimately they told him the same thing, which was, we're all moving to ham radio, which I think that's phenomenal, and it's radio. That's what's important. You got anything else for us today, Pops?
I wish everybody out there happy Father's Day and 73 to everybody, and let's all have a blessed week this week. KG5NKC, we're going to go back to the net. We'll be clear. You all have a blessed day.
Pops, thanks for checking in. I really do appreciate you, bud. And you have a great rest of your afternoon with Father's Day. This is KG5RJR. You're listening to Digitally Speaking. Would you like to be next this afternoon? If you would, please throw out your call.
For EO.
Good afternoon, Bentley. How you doing this afternoon, bud?
Good. What's up, Scott? Great net you're running just for the Father's Day afternoon.
Well, I appreciate that, Bentley, and it was not my idea. It was my our buddy Ken's idea. It was a good one, and we ran with it. How you doing, man? And did you have a good Father's Day?
Well, we celebrated, if you will, kind of, sort of, on one day last week, I can't remember. Wednesday, I believe it was. Yeah, Wednesday afternoon, evening, and had a meal. All three kids were here, and then we're going to go have a meal with Trish's dad here in a little bit and celebrate with them. So it's been a good day. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to upgrade my Quadra before it goes out. That's what I've been doing while we're listening to the net.
5DTH.
It recognizes K5DTH. Go ahead.
Send me an email at my call sign, Kilo 5 Delta Tango Hotel @yahoo.com, and I've created simplified instructions I'll send back to you. You'll be done in about 20 minutes, and it's 5 commands.
That call sign one more time.
Kilo 5 Delta Tango Hotel @yahoo.com.
Very kindly. I do appreciate that. And I will send you an email shortly. So, that took care of my problem, maybe. Of course, the operator error you can never tell about there, Scott.
Follow up. Sorry to hog it. So first thing is, do not do the upgrade when it asks you if you want to upgrade to 4.22. Don't do that. The instructions because that won't work. The instructions I'll send you will first reroute it to the new back-end servers, and then point everything on your Quadra or Quadra 4K to the correct spots, and then it'll run upgrades to, I think we're at 4.26 now. just in case anyone else is listening and going to send me that email too. K5DTH back to net control.
Bentley, you got all that?
Roger, and the email has been sent. And thank you again, K5DTH. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I did a presentation on that at one of the Dakar meetings, and several people bought it because of my presentation, and then just a few weeks later, both gentlemen either passed away or went into hospice, the writer of the program and the builder of the quadras, and so I felt a little obligated to make sure everyone got on the right path. K5DTH.
Very kind of you to do that for us. We do appreciate it. Well, Scott takes care of my afternoon. So if he said it'd take 20 minutes, that means it'll take me about 2 hours, but that's okay. It gives me something to do.
You don't get out of there that fast, Bentley. I'm going to ask you the question. Was your dad instrumental in you getting your ham radio license? And have you been instrumental in helping your kids get into ham radio?
Short answer to both of those are no. Not, my dad said, like somebody said, I was a kid when I really got interested in ham radio, and my dad said it was too expensive. But it wasn't until shortly thereafter he brought a CB radio home and said, "Here, let's do this instead." And he really got into it. And so that even made the bug worse. And I have tried, you have tried, everybody that I know has tried to get my kids interested, and I ain't giving up, but no, they don't seem to have any interest at this point in time. And I guess that's okay. They do come by and listen every once in a while, and they do like hearing about all the places I talk and stuff, but no interest in punching the ticket yet.
There's always the possibility that at some point later down the road that will happen still. Because, their lives are busy right now with college and all the things that they're doing getting started. And if I think back to what I was doing when I had little kids and when I was going to college, I didn't have much time for doing any of this. And it wasn't until, Heidi and I got married and life kind of slowed down and settled down a little bit, then I was able to jump in and do it. So I just have to say, Bentley, there's still time. Bud, you got anything else for us today?
Thanks for running the net. Doing a great job as always. And KC4RJR, back to net control.
Those of you that are not familiar with him, Bentley is one of our hosts here for Digitally Speaking, and that's perfect time for me to throw this in. If you'd like to be a host for Digitally Speaking, just reach out via the website. The email is up there. We talked about it a little bit earlier. It's https://www.digital-lee, that's spelled L-E-E hyphen, well, I got to look at that now, digital-lee-speaking.net. I apologize. I'm not looking at the computer in the notes and trying to just rattle it off from memory. But reach out, and you can look me up on a QRZ as well. Toss an email. If you're interested in hosting, we have a place for you here. We're willing to share time on the radio. This is KG5RJR. If you'd like to be next this afternoon, throw out your call. Oh, look at that. We got a vacant spot. Oh, hey, we've been going for an hour and 48 minutes. And you can reach us at email at digitallyspeaking@gmail.com. And that's Lee, L-E-E. So, yeah, reach out there. If you're interested in hosting, we'd love to have you. Fact is, we've added some new hosts, and you're going to hear some new voices as we go along with this, because that's what this is all about. It's not just one or two guys doing this. There's a whole group of us that are involved. And, yeah, that's kind of how the founder intended it. And if you look at it, how we do it, it's a little different than most nets, where it's just a check-in or this or that. We talk to people one-on-one, kind of like you would around the dinner table. So that's how I look at it, and that's a lot of fun. All right, so let's try one more time. If you'd like to be next on Digitally Speaking, throw out your call.
KD2KW.
There he is. I was hoping you'd sneak in here. Ken, what a fantastic idea for a net. We have had so much fun with this today. You tell me, did your dad help you get into amateur radio in any way, fashion, or form? And what have you done to get your kids interested in amateur radio?
Sounds like it was a great subject, and I appreciate you guys thinking about our dads. I was listening to Bentley, and I'll have to say, got in here late, but Bentley, you may never know, but at some point I'm sure there's an influence that you as dad has made on those kids. I know you, and I've not met your kids yet, but I think from what I've heard, they're following right along with where you want them. Anyway, to answer your question, Scott, my dad didn't know what ham radio was, and so he was a bookkeeper, and we lived on a farm. Well, a little side, I think it was 5 acres or something like that, to the his parents' farms. But when I got interested, he didn't, and he actually supported me and allowed me to build a radio shack in the backyard out of scrap that was from a add-on to the 4-room house that we started out in. So I had to add a few pieces to it, but that was a dream, and he let me continue with that. Put a little 1-room shack right underneath the center of a dipole and had a ball. And the dipole was given to me by my great uncle. So ham radio has been an interesting part of my life from the very beginning as a teenager, and I'm not sure that my dad could have even figured out what I was doing, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun. Back to you, Scott, KD2KW.
That's a fantastic story, and I have to ask, so your great uncle gave you the dipole. Was he an amateur radio operator?
Well, actually, he was a missionary into Montevideo, Uruguay, and he was hoping, and I was too, that I could make contact with that part of South America. I don't think I ever did, but it was part of the interest that the family had in the fact that I was in ham radio. And by the way, you asked about what I've done. Well, my kids never did. My youngest daughter, not when she was at home, but later, I think she was considering taking it. She may have even taken the test, but I'm not sure. She didn't get her license if she did. And my grandson and granddaughter, her kids, granddaughter got her license. The grandson was, I think, 9 or 10, and he didn't pass, so I don't think he took it up after that. But those have, she has a license. My grandson's on the other side has his license. So we have a couple of others in the family, and they've enjoyed radio quite a bit. And got a couple of other grandkids that are really technical in nature as well. I'm sure they'll
come along as life permits. Back to you, KD2KW.
Ken, that's awesome. I'm tickled to hear that the radio will carry on, even if they're not currently using it and doing it. Like I had a conversation with Madison this week about that. Even if you're not currently active, keeping your license active, and at least reprogram your radio. So if you need it, you've got it. That in itself, I think, is a phenomenal thing. This is KG5RJR. You're listening to Digitally Speaking. We're coming up here close to the top of the hour. So I do want to let you know that we will be finishing it up with the net at the top of the hour here. And just because we're done doesn't mean you have to stop. You can actually chat and visit, but yeah, I'm going to step aside at the top of the hour and get something to eat. So, as well as return a couple of the phone calls that came in while the net was in progress. So, I'm going to do another call here. If you'd like to be next, throw out your call sign.
India 5, Romeo Sierra X-ray.
There's a radioactive dad. David, how you doing, bud?
Doing great. Yeah, we got the jet skis out to Lake Ray Roberts, and I was able to make 7 contacts before I got bored, and we just spent a day at the lake.
That is very cool, very cool. Now, I do know that you and your son are both active with radio, but I'll ask the question. Was your dad involved with you in getting ham radio?
Thank you, Scott, for running the net. First off, my dad, I never knew he was a radio operator until after he passed. And I never knew my grandfather was a radio operator until after he passed. But yeah, I think the script is reversed on this one. Sam actually read a book about a ham radio operator in the mountains, and that's what fueled our family to all get our licenses.
That is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, not that you didn't know the other two were licensed, but you found out afterwards they were. That's really cool, David. And I've seen you and Sam working radio and doing radio. He's gotten you involved in nets. Tell me, is this not the best hobby for families to do and to get out and go somewhere?
First, when he gets us interested and I'll throw it back to you.
Stepped on you there, David. Go again.
Apologize. Yeah, I was just saying that I found out after my dad passed that he was a ham radio operator or at comms for the Navy, and his father was on the USS Missouri and was one of the fastest code operators when the Japanese surrendered. So he would have been pushing the code back to the mainland, KF5RX.
That's very cool. Very, very cool. And, you know, like I was saying when we doubled here, David, I have seen you and your family doing radio together. Sam has drug you into radio, and you even lead nets now. What a cool hobby to do with our families, don't you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, just the volunteer service to the community and the emergency service to the community, you know, we can serve our communities as, you know, citizens. And radio really comes into play there because we can do a lot with radio and communications that, you know, people will need if stuff happens. KI5RX, back to you.
Excellent, David. And I appreciate everything that you and Sam and your wife do here for the community here in the Denton area and with the amateur radio. And hopefully we'll see you field day as well. This is KG5RJR. And guys, I'm going to wrap. Why? It's 3 minutes till the top of the hour, and if I don't, they'll push me over the top just like they did last time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to put this all back to the way it normally is for normal weekday conversation. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can. But I'm going to go get a bite to eat because I'm getting hungry. This is KG5RJR. I've been privileged to be your NCS this week, and we will see you in a few more weeks. Tune in next.
Across the airwaves, every Sunday we remember your name. The bands may change, the years may pass, but the friendships we build will always last. The microphone may be handed down, but the spirit never leaves this town. So key the mic and sing along. Digitally, the signal carries on. 73 to all operators. The net is standing by.